What's up to Lion Talk Live? So we love you too, buddy.
What's going on, guys? It is Aiden Hutchinson.
What's up, everybody? It's Calvin Johnson Jr. here, a.k.a. Megatron, a.k.a. First Ballot.
What's up, man? It's your boy Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Greetings and salutations to everyone out there in YouTube land. This is Dan Skipper, offensive weapon for the Detroit Lions. Make sure you all help support Lions Talk Live, Coach Dan, by clicking on that like and subscribe button. Everybody, woo!
I love nothing more than watching Lions Talk Live every morning. Woo!
Woo!
Well, greetings and salutations to everybody out there in YouTube land. I'm your host once again, Dan Thornton, and I want to thank you all for joining us here today. Hey, it's Lions Talk Live. It's the start of the week. It's the start of the final week of the preseason, and you know what? Probably as a coach, I would say they got to assume that the vast majority of these spots in their minds have probably been figured out. We're going to be talking about that all in a little bit on today's show. Plus, man, some good, some bad, some ugly from yesterday's practice, or scrimmage, however you want to term it. We're at a preseason game. We're going to dive into that. We're going to talk about some of the bad news that's going to face the Detroit Lions. And let's just say it right off the bat. This team's pretty dang deep, and you cannot keep everybody. That's going to be one of the most difficult cuts, I'm guessing, in Lions history. Kurt Steele, if you happen to be in the comments section, let me know your thoughts. But, man, oh, man. I'm going to assume right now at least 40 roster spots are probably good to go. Hey, we're good there. Means you maybe have somewhere between 13 to 7 still up in the air, but I really kind of doubt it. I think you got enough evidence who you're probably moving on from, who you're getting rid of, who maybe you're looking to trade somewhere else, acquire some draft capital, whatever. And then, yes, we have a little bit of it seems like we have an idea on Ahmed Hassanin's injury. We'll get into that during the 5 headlines now during the main topic day and some of that stuff. But I will say this. I don't think it's season ending or anything like that. It sounds like he might be out a little bit of time. Again, we'll get into that real quick. All right, real quick before we get into all that, 5 headlines on main topic of the day, all the speculation in between. If you haven't yet subscribed to Lions Talk Live, please consider doing so. We need, survey says, 31 more subs to get to 14,200. So if you have a half second of time, you're willing to hit that subscribe button, I surely would be thankful. Also, while you're hitting that button, consider hitting the thumbs up button, the like button, hit all the buttons. We try to get every episode of the show, as you know, between 200, 300, 400 or more thumbs up or likes. Last but most certainly never least, if you are, perhaps as we're getting ready for winter, the fall, etc., if you're looking for window cleaning, your home washed up, everything on the outside taken care of, gutters cleaned, holiday lights as we get ready for the holidays hung up for you, visit CustomShineWindowCleaning.com or call Tom and Mackenzie at 248-363-1911. Hey, they've been serving Greater Oakland County since 1997. Give them a call, shoot them a text, see what they can do to bring their great, outstanding services over to you. All right, with all that done, said, out of the way, let's go ahead and get this show rocking and rolling and going, and let's start it off with, as you know, 5 headlines now. Totally unlions report here. Man, yesterday we had that wings challenge. I know I talked to you guys about it yesterday. You could see how the wings progressed from wing 1 to wing 10. I think we started getting, we had about 30 or 40 people show up for it. Once we got to about wing 4, that's when a few people dropped off. When we got to wing 5, a few more. And then, man, you got to wing 8. Woo! A lot of people dropped off. There was only a couple that made it all the way to wing 10. I begrudgingly made it to the final wing and ate it. And let me tell you, it was so dang spicy. My hands felt like they were on fire until, we went to bed a little bit after 10 p.m. And let me tell you, I woke up around 2 a.m. I couldn't sleep anymore. Just my hands were so on fire. But thankfully, they calmed down. But, ooh, man. Those were some spicy wings. All right, let's get to the Lions stuff, though. Lions Dave Montgomery reveals major key for Detroit's offense. Newsweek. I think this is the first time on Lions Talk Live we've ever had a story from Newsweek. Story by Robert Marva. Hey, not a big surprise here. Dave Montgomery thinks this Lions offense is ready to set up. He thinks they got a great passing attack. Goff's going to be insanely good. Yes, the running game. He talks about himself. He talks about Gibbs. He talks about some of the backups. He thinks this Lions offense is more powerful than what we've seen the prior couple years. One of the big reasons, though, he thinks everybody might be missing the boat on the Detroit Lions offense this year, as he knows, like everybody, there's some questions about the offensive line. Yes, Zeitler's gone. Yes, Ragnow retired. But he does point out, in his opinion, this Lions offensive line is just as good as what they had the year prior. While he doesn't go into this, I did a little bit of Scooby-Dooing and work on it. It does seem like there's quite a bit of range when you look at preseason rankings. ESPN has our offensive line ranked number 16th overall with the projected starters. I do want to make sure I point that out with our projected starting lineup. But Sharp Football analysts have us as the third best, only behind the Denver Broncos and Super Bowl winning team Philadelphia Eagles ahead of the Detroit Lions. So could it be that the Detroit Lions offensive line is just as good as it was last year? It's hard to say because really we only get to see a little bit here and there during warm-ups, scrimmages, joint practices, etc. We don't really get to watch them at length, at least unless you're out there doing stuff in person. I have not been able to do that, so I can only give you my humble opinions. I've shared them before on this show. I do think Tate Ratledge, while he's not going to be Zeitler, he is going to be more athletic. You could maybe argue the same amount of power, upper body, lower body, etc. He's not going to have the experience, but how do you get experience? You get time. Christian Mahogany, I do think, is going to be a big upgrade over what we got out of Graham Glasgow as a left guard last year. So you could argue we're getting better off the bat there. Frank Ragnow, everybody loves this guy. Everybody agrees he's one of the best centers in football, but probably could also get people to humbly agree that the last two seasons, Frank Ragnow really was a shell of himself, especially last year. We all know he had the torn pec, played through it, more or less played with one good arm throughout the entire season. So could it be that Glasgow in a more natural position for himself, plays a little bit better anticipated? I don't know, but so far it does sound like Dave Montgomery thinks the Lions offensive line is going to be just fine. All right, number 2 on this list. Don't sleep on very strong Lions defensive effort in practices versus Miami Dolphins sideline report. Story by Max DeMar. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time on each of these points just because I didn't get any sleep. As I just reiterated to you guys, I can tell that maybe the noggin isn't quite up to snuff. But let's also go through this stuff and point things out. Nola Blanchie, as you guys may or may not know, he's covered the Detroit Lions for a very long time. Let's go through the first 11-11 drive of Thursday's practice, or at least a couple drives, I should say. It wouldn't be just one drive. But all right, so starting off, the Lions defense, they wanted to come out and prove the point in the final joint practice against the Dolphins. I'd say they did just that. Watching Lions defense today, Miami has woken up. But in first reps of 11-11, Davenport and Hutchinson had back-to-back sacks. That's a pretty good start, right? The next couple series, the next set of first team 11-11 drills, Hutchinson sack, run stuff, incomplete pass, short run gain, Anzalone sack, incompletion forced by Hutchinson pressure. So we get it. We've heard all sorts of reports from either Hutch Jr., or just, the Sarge, Tony Libretto, or just other people, let alone reporters, who were able to get out and watch the Lions and the Dolphins do joint practices. It's the only way we could see really the projected starting lineups for both teams out there. And everybody has the same thing to say. This Detroit Lions defense is in attack mode from day one. We've heard some of the speculated nuanced changes from Shepard to Glenn to Shepard, I should say. And it does sound like Shep wants to be highly aggressive. Yes, that means sometimes it's going to go bad. Sometimes we're going to give up big plays, however you want to word it. But we also know you're going to put a lot of pressure, especially early in the season when teams are still trying to Scooby-Doo what Kelvin Shepard wants to do. It sounds like he's going to do everything he can to force the tempo, force the pressure, make teams very one-dimensional, and try to get to the other quarterback. And if the other team's quarterback goes down, he must go down hard. So we'll see what Shep has to say. But Davenport's gotten a lot of praise. Hutchinson, we already know they've changed some rules when the Lions play against the Lions in practices. They've changed some rules to try to slow him down because he is having that kind of camp. We know he's on a mission this year. And then the secondary, I've talked about it in the last couple of days. I do think it may be the most improved unit on the team, and especially on the defense, it may just be the best overall part of the defense. And that's saying something because you look at the linebacking core, how stout they are, how deep they are. And then you look at the defensive line, beaten up a year ago, but they're not beaten up anymore. They're going to be coming after teams. I can't wait to see week 1 of the season. I'm sure you guys are too. All right, next to the 5 headlines now. It took just one game for Lions rookies to make Brad Holmes look like a genius. Sideline report, story by Candace Perez. Hey, which rookie you're going to talk about here, I don't know, but let's just face it. Throughout the totality of the preseason, whether you're talking about the scrimmages, where you're talking about the joint practices, where you're talking about the preseason games, just whatever, the rookies have really stood out. Tyleik Williams, he's going to be a monster and a pain for people to have to deal with, especially at some point when you have him next to DJ Reader, Aleem the Dream McNeil, Aiden Hutchinson. You might just have one of the better draft picks for a defensive lineman in the entire first round of the NFL draft. That's some high praise, but early reports are all there with him. When you talk about the second round pick, you talk about, Ratledge. Hey, I think it was anticipated the moment he was selected by the Detroit Lions. He was going to be a starter. He was going to bring a certain kind of physicality to the line, some athleticism, and he's done nothing but hold up to that. What maybe a lot of people didn't know or didn't believe, or however you want to word it, you can say this about Isaac Teslaa. He looks like a first-round pick. If you redrafted the NFL draft right now, and everybody in the Duke crew, let me know your thoughts. Do you think he's a first-round pick based on what we've seen in the preseason games? My personal opinion, yeah, he might be a top 10, top 15 pick. I understand not a lot of people knew about this guy. If you were from Michigan, especially if you're anywhere near Hillsdale or maybe parts of Grand Rapids, I don't know. How about this? If you covered the MHSAA state championships a few years ago when he was a quarterback for it, you probably did have some clues about him. And then if you watch Arkansas football, you probably had more clues about him. He didn't have great numbers his senior year in college. Some of it you could say was the system. Some of it you could say was the quarterback play. Their lack of an offensive line definitely was a factor. But there's no questions about him at this point. If he plays in week 4 of the preseason, I would be pretty shocked. I don't think he should. But you know what? MCDC isn't asking me. This guy has been an absolute win, and he's not the only one. That's 3 draft picks right there that have jumped off the page. I do think Ahmed Hassanin is going to be okay in time. I do think he's going to have a pretty good rookie year. So that's 4 out there. And who knows, maybe Lovett or a couple other people we'll talk about during the main topic day will enter this conversation. But right now, whatever the Lions have done for their scouting department for this past draft, it looks like virtually every pick might just be a home run for this team. All right. 4th of the 5 headlines now. Troy, let's see how many people talk about this in the comment section. Hendon Hooker's fate in Detroit appears all but sealed after Lions preseason contest against the Miami Dolphins. ESPN story by Craig Smith. It's unfortunate when you talk about this because I think Hendon Hooker's got a lot of potential, but I also think Hendon Hooker is his own worst enemy right now. When I watch him in the games, in the preseason games, he just looks like mentally he is distracted. He is, in my opinion, regressed heavily with each game. And in my interpretation of it, I think he's just overthinking things. He's not going out there and playing. He's trying to make plays. He probably feels the pressure of Allen. He probably feels the pressure knowing that he might not be here in a week and a half. Whatever it is, this young man's got a lot of potential, but I think his future, as this story points out, it's probably no longer in Detroit. When I was on Anthony from Roar Lions UK's 24-hour live stream for fundraising the other day, one of the questions they did ask I thought was a very buoyant question. Would you keep Hendon Hooker as the number 3 quarterback for emergency purposes, or would you keep somebody else on the 53-man roster? My simple answer at that point was I would go with talent. So whoever's the best talent, go with that. That's maybe a cop-out answer as a coach. But after yesterday's performance, I just don't see how he could give up one of the 53 roster spots for him. Now, if he wants to be on the practice squad, that's a different conversation. He's got all the abilities. He's got to get out of his own head. And right now, you watch his eyes. That was the biggest thing watching the game yesterday. Admittedly, it was a little distracted as we were hosting Jen's family at that point. but his eyes just don't go downfield anymore. They're very short intermediate. He's looking for hits. I do question if some of that is because of his knee injury in college. Maybe he just doesn't get past that. I've coached long enough to be able to say this. Some players never do get past the injury. I won't meant out of respect for the individual, but there's a person I coached years ago, might have been Michael Jordan. And the fact that nobody knows who this person is, is a shame. But the person got injured in practices, without question, best player on the planet. But got into games, couldn't get out of their own way. The mental aspect of the game, I guess, is what you would say. Hendon Hooker, I think if he can get out of his mental wherewithal and return to form, he's going to be an NFL quarterback. But until that happens, I don't think he has a future here, and that's basically what this story has to say. It's too bad because I think he's got everything you can want other than one thing. The eyes don't lie with a quarterback. If the quarterback can't read defenses, can't look down the field, he can't quarterback in the NFL. There's just too much going on. And as soon as he snaps the ball yesterday, I thought his eyes immediately went from looking downfield, reading coverages, to who's about to hit me. And that's a tough place for any quarterback to be. All right, I don't have a fifth headline today, so I want to kind of power through this a little bit today because, as you guys know, I'm struggling a little bit. But, hey, that's a price of victory, I guess, getting to that 10th wing. All right, let's get over to the main topic of the day because I think we're going to have a little bit of fun with this one. So let's 1, 2, 3, get right there. All right, I'm going to put each of you into a situation. So, hey, I guess we could say this is going to be a bit of a game show here. So I'm going to put you guys in a situation because a week from now, the Lions coaching staff, front offices have to make selections. I've already given you a couple tips towards what I'm thinking about this team. In the comment section, I'm going to ask you guys to try to answer this and do it in a polite, respectful way. Who are you keeping as your quarterbacks right now? I don't think anybody who is on that Hooker should start over Goff train is there anymore. If I'm wrong, let me know. I don't think anybody's going to say Kyle Allen should start over Goff, but who is on your depth chart for the quarterback position? Me right now, Goff's undoubtedly number one, and Allen, I thought he started off a little bit rough in the game, had a couple slight overthrows to Teslaa, and I don't remember who the other one was, but after that, it's hard to pick him apart. His footwork in the pocket, his eyes are downfield, footwork was strong, he constantly looked downfield, and that's one thing I think that really, in my view, doomed Hooker, is the eyes just didn't go down there. He was pretty accurate, pretty tough, took some hits, fought through some things to make some plays. Right now, out of those three guys, I would anticipate that's who I'm going to put as number 1 and 2. But here's the first real big question for the Duke crew and everybody watching this live or later on. What do you do with the running back spot? And we're going to have the same conversation with a lot of spots. Who do you keep? Do you keep 4 running backs or do you make it 5? Because Sailors, man, he looks like a player to me. And I think if you put him on the practice squad, this is going to be your first assignment as a general manager. You got to make choices. Anybody you cut with the hopes of getting him to your practice squad, somebody else can poach him. And I think that kid's going to get poached. He has shown very well. What do you do, Duke crew? Name me your depth chart lineup for the running back spot. Do you keep 3? Do you keep 4? Do you keep 5? Do you keep 29 players at the running back spot? Let me know your thoughts. If we're having a difficult conversation and bad news for the Detroit Lions coaching staff and that you can't keep them all, what do you do with the wide receivers? Because I'll give you my opinion. Have your own opinion. I know some are going to say, hey, trade Tim Patrick, trade Khalif Raymond. I don't think that's happening. If the Lions coaching staff had, in my view, any opinion on either of those moves being a possibility, you'd have them on the field. Either that or you just don't want them to get hurt or you can't trade them. I guess both can be true. But Jackson Meeks, he's looked in pretty dang good. We talked about it last week. There's a difference between 40 times speed and game speed. I always use Jerry Rice as that example because Jerry Rice, you probably all know, he only ran like a 4.7 something. I mean, he was Jared Goff's speed in the 40-yard dash. Nobody watching this show worries about Jared Goff, outrunning anybody in a 40-yard dash, but yet Jerry Rice was just as fast. But when Rice got on the field, he had game speed. Nobody could keep up with him. Jackson Meeks looks like the next one on that list for Jerry Rice speed, game speed. He is showing up. Monster game yesterday. He's got some size, which the Lions don't have a ton of, although I guess if they kept him, Teslaa, Tim Patrick, I guess you could say they got pretty good size at the wide receiver at that point. But what do? You got Lovett, you got Meeks, you got Teslaa, and I don't see a reality out there where Teslaa is not on this team. It's a different conversation whether or not you think he should be in one of the starting 3 wide receivers or number 4 or 5. I'll let you guys debate that. But what do you do right now, Duke Crew? In the comment section, let me know who are your 5 or 6 or 8 wide receivers you keep. Because, again, you can't keep them all. All right, then go on to the offensive line. I think we're probably pretty stabilized who the starters are. Who do you keep them for the backups? Remember, we only get 53 guys. And if you keep 5 running backs or 6 wide receivers, and if you keep 2 or 3, quarterbacks, you can see how much that's starting to really impact every other spot. That's the problem with these numbers. You got to make them all work. But who's in, who's out at the offensive line? Do you keep 8? Do you keep 9? Do you keep 10? Let me know your thoughts. There's no wrong ones here. We're all trying to Scooby-Doo this together. But again, like with the headline I put out there, the bad news faces the Detroit Lions, the good, the bad, and the ugly from yesterday, or the Teslaa of yesterday. The bad news is simply this. You just can't keep it all. And this is absolutely the deepest Lions team I think I've ever seen. I've always tried to reference before. I think it was the 93 team, 94 in the playoffs, I guess. But that team was insanely deep. This team, in my humble opinion, is vastly deeper than that team. All right, defensive line. Here's where I think it gets tricky for a multitude of reasons. Hutchinson, no doubt about it, he's the baddest man on the planet wearing a Detroit Lions defensive player's jersey number, at least on that defensive line. I think we all get it. Davenport's having a phenomenal camp. Keep that man healthy. Keep an IV of Mountain Dew in him at all times, and he's going to be just fine. Then beyond that, I think, Tyreek Williams, he's going to be fine. DJ Reader, he's not going anywhere. Where do you go from there? Broderick Martin did get some pressure. There were a couple plays, and again, I know I was a little distracted yesterday, but there were a couple plays yesterday where he didn't just slip past that guard or center that were blocking him. He threw that dude to the floor. You could see the power starting to show up. He got his hands, he displaced, he got leverage, and he pushed that dude to the floor, and he was beelining to that quarterback. He did it, I want to say, 2 times that I noticed, and in the run, run defense, I thought he did a good job maintaining the line and pushing back. Is it enough for him to get a spot on the team? This is 2 weeks in a row he's shown up. I get they aren't playing him a ton on obvious passing downs, but I also understand that's probably not his biggest asset. You want somebody else in there who's going to do a little bit better. But did he do enough in the past 2 weeks for all of us to change our mind and go, maybe there's something there? You got a lot of dudes fighting for those spots. You guys know a lot of the suspects, whether it's Chris Smith, Pat O'Connor, whoever else. But how many defensive tackles do you keep? How many defensive ends do you keep? Keith Cooper, I know they interviewed Brad Holmes during it. He's up 1 week, he's down another week, he's up the next week, and I think that's the only thing really hurting him. You see all the talent there, and for a guy that cost you nothing other than some ink under your pen and on some paperwork to sign, he's pretty dang good. And if you put him on the practice squad, somebody else is going to acquire him and say thank you very much. And so I don't know. It's one of the bigger debates because you can't keep everybody. Nate Lynn, Ukwa, all these other guys, they've all looked pretty dang good. Who do you keep, though, on the roster? Linebacker, the top 3, I'm not even bothered with because, they're making it. But Stewart's looked, he's all over the place. He's got a rocket around him at all times. That guy flies through the sky with a cape and basically an S on his chest. He's everywhere. I don't think he's going to make it into the starting lineup unless, they're taking somebody out for whatever reason. But I will also say Cunningham, man, oh man. I'm surprised he looks that solid out there. You watch his flow. You watch his reactions. You watch the speed. You can tell this guy's got a ton of experience in the noggin because he reacts lickety-split. If they had to put him in the starting lineup, I don't think he'd miss a beat. And to have him potentially coming off your bench, I think that's just a massive win for the Lions team, especially the Lions team, as you guys all know, that had to deal with some stuff last year. Secondary, man, I had some worries when Rakestraw went down. I don't have those worries anymore. I think the Lions are legitimately deep in the secondary. Nick Whitesell, I think he's going to be it. And I want to give a shout out, Lauren, if you're watching this, I don't know if you're on the show this morning. You talked to me a little bit about DJ Miller Jr. I like the guy. I just don't think he's going to make it with the Detroit Lions because I think we're that deep. And that says something about the depth here. What I look for in a cornerback, I watch the hips out of the break. It doesn't matter if it's man or zone. How do you respond to it? How do you get those hips around? he flows really well. I know MCDC talked about it, whatever, in a presser. The thing he likes about the UFL guys, they've already gone through it. They're kind of a little bit ahead of the curve over some of the guys who've been off during the spring and summer. He's got a lot of size. He's got good fluid movement, and he locates the ball. He keeps penalties, for the most part, away from him, because when he reads the body language of the wide receiver, he instinctively goes up to locate the ball, and that does clean up a lot of potential penalties. I don't think Miller's going to make it here just because there's too many other options, but you're letting go, in my humble opinion, a guy with NFL abilities, and that's something that rarely happens with a cornerback. He could play here. The only problem is if you keep Miller, who else are you getting rid of? I think the Lions might be way deeper in the secondary than I would have thought 2 weeks ago. Kicker, punter, I'm not even going to worry about that because those guys aren't going anywhere. But what are your guys' thoughts? Let me know in the comment section. I'm going to go through about our 15, 20 minutes of this and see what you guys have to say. But I like a lot of the problems we're facing, and we've got some bad news facing all Lions fans. You, me, everybody watching this show are going to be disappointed we let that guy go, this guy go, whatever it is. But it's good news because obviously the coaching staff thinks the other guys are better. Real quick, Ahmed Hassani, I couldn't get it actually confirmed, but what I did get is this. He popped the shoulder out. It came out of place. They're waiting for results. Should have him this morning. If he tore any ligaments, they don't initially think he did, but they need confirmation of that. If that just all happens where he just popped it out of place, he's probably back week 1 or 2 of the regular season. If he did tear some stuff, that's where it gets a little bit more of a conversation. That's where you might be, I don't know, later October, middle of October, depending on how fastly he recovers the things. But again, that's unconfirmed reports. That's just talking to some Detroit media people. And I think when you watched it live, probably most of you, Phil, if you're in the comment section, I mean, you're a medical person. You probably look at it too and say, yeah, he popped it out on that hit. Now, it just comes a question, did he pop it out, goes back in place? Did he tear any ligaments? But long story short, he's going to be back sooner probably versus later. I don't think it's season ending by any stretch unless he really did something. All right, let's get to the Duke crew on 3. 1, 2, 3. Scrolling to the top of the screen. Give me a moment, please. Michael D. Greetings, salutations, Coach Dan of the Duke crew. Exclamation point. One pride. Woo! Back at you, JDC. Morning, all. And same to you. Silver Server, good morning, Coach and fellow Lions fans. And always good to see Lions fans in this comment section. So, do we know if Ahmed Hassani is okay? It doesn't sound like it's going to be a big deal. It's not like going to be Dan Jackson or Levi Onwuzurike. Let me rephrase it and put it that way. I don't think he's going to be out all season. I think probably best case, he's out until week 1 or 2 of the regular season. Worst case, maybe week 6, somewhere in there. But again, that's unconfirmed. But I think if you watch it live, it happens. Talking to some people, he popped the shoulder out of place. Bo, good morning, Duke crew. I'm no longer hooked on a feeling. Woo! Yeah, at this point, I love the kid to death. I don't want to wish ill on anybody, but the other part of it is, Hendon Hooker, man, maybe it would be in his best interest to go play in the UFL for a season or 2, kind of reemerge, redevelop, and see where it can go from there. Silver Server, anybody know how Ahmed is doing? Well, hopefully you know now, and if anybody's got more informed information on it, go ahead and throw it in the comment section. Lions Talk Live fan, morning doings, and back at you. Bo, I lost my power and missed most of the second half. Came back at the 2-minute left. A big disappointment. Sorry to hear that, my friend. Glad your power's back, though. Robert, greetings, salutations. I'm very sad about Hassani's injury. I think we all are. Outside of that, I don't really think the Lions had anything that I noticed. Nothing noteworthy, but again, I'm thinking from what I've heard, it's not going to be incredibly long. Silver Server, I was thinking that deep roster all of my sudden doesn't look so deep anymore. Let's see how yet another Lions season will unravel. 100% indeed. Bo, Kyle Allen, number 2 now? I would think so. And MCDC in some of his comments more or less kind of suggested that. At least that was how I viewed it. Henry Moore, good morning, Coach Dan and the Duke crew. What a team. What a podcast. What a time be a Lions fan. Woo! And hey, good to see you as always, Henry. Jessica, I feel bad for Hendon. Things just aren't going his way. No, they aren't, man. No, they aren't. And I think it's all there for him. I think he just needs to shake off the cobwebs, get the eyes downfield, be willing to take a hit. And, again, I can only give you guys my view. When I watch him, as soon as he snaps it, those eyes aren't going downfield. They're coming back in looking for the pass rush. You just can't play quarterback that way. Anymore, I'm sorry to say, but Hooker didn't. So, okay. Anymore, How up or show out? I'll go with that. I am beginning to wonder if the team likes him. We'll find out. Five fingers, right? How can Teslaa not be wide receiver number 3? Hey, he's looking phenomenal. But will he be able to beat out Tim Patrick or Khalif Raymond? Man, who knows? We'll wait and see what the coaches come up with. But what we can say is Lions wide receiver core is going to probably cause a lot of problems matchup-wise for just about every NFL defense. Silver Hooker even looked unlucky. That last play of the game was 1 in 1,000. Really seemed to me a closed door on a career with Detroit. Came out of the tunnel first, nobody behind him. Yeah, and just you feel for him, but what can you do other than you got to tell him as a coach, hey, you got to go on to the next play. And right now he's not doing that. Johnny L, good morning, folks. Good morning, Johnny. How you doing today? Steve Rogers, Arnold looked perfect other than a few slight overthrows. Yeah, I want to say in the first quarter, he missed, I want to say, a shot to Teslaa that was just off Tesla's fingers, and there was somebody else. Maybe it was Teslaa again. I don't know. Maybe it was TK85, but he was pretty accurate other than some slight overthrows. But notice all those overthrows when he rolled to the left and threw across his body to the right. So maybe it's just not a strength of his, or maybe just a little timing issue with the offense. We got Pat Rock, Cooper, Lynn, or Ukwa. Ooh, that's a burning question, man. They all can play. Who do you keep? Cooper, though, he's a rookie. So I would say this. If they're even, the rookie is leaving the others behind just because you typically have more upside with that. Bo, 45 is definitely Lime. I'll go with that. Johnny L. Hooker is not very good at all. Okay. Silver, by the way, they ran all over Detroit, 5 yards of carry and big runs, but I was really happy to see Baki and liked the way he ran. Yeah, Baki, I'm a USC fan, so I watched him in college. I like a lot about him, and I don't think we've seen the full Baki yet. Henry Moore, I think Allen will be the number 2 quarterback, and Teslaa will be in the rotation. First half looked like a well-oiled machine. I agree with that fully, Henry. Second half, especially preseason game number 3 or 2, however you're going to word it based on how the NFL words it, I just think most teams, you probably know the vast majority of the guys you're going to keep. Those second half guys, you want them to take the punishment because you know they're ultimately not going to be here. One, we're trying to protect the more important players. I guess that's a good way to put it. Tori Abel, could Meeks, Teslaa, and Lovett all make the team? Yeah, I think they could. But in that scenario, boy, Tim Patrick and Khalif Raymond would probably be out of here. Maybe one of them stays, but man, could you make that happen? I don't know, but love it. He's got to grow and develop. I think that's why he's basically a late round pick, is because he's got the wheels, he's got the potential, just needs time to grow. Meeks, though, man, he separates. You watch when he puts that first cut foot down at an angle, he breaks and breaks hard on it. And again, coaching stuff you pay attention to. But man, you watch player A and him running, and then when he hits it, he's gone. He comes out of that break incredibly well. Dre Day, Coach Campbell said Allen number 2, Hooker is number 3 at the moment, so I doubt they cut him. Maybe they do. I don't know. Every coach is going to handle that differently. So we'll see what shakes out. Johnny L, I did like a lot of the others. Teslaa was a stud. Stewart is a beast. Yeah, Stewart seems to be a real nice find for the team. Henry Moore, I can't wait to see our first team hit the field. Exclamation point. Hope they get some reps in the other 2 games before throw down and some NFL wannabes. All right, we'll go with that. Johnny L, that's right. Meeks is going to be on the team. I think, man, he's definitely over where he was in the Hall of Fame game to where he is now. Yeah, that guy is really showing up. Trey Tipson, what's good, everybody? Question mark. Troy Apple, Teslaa, and Meeks look legit. Lovett has speed, but drops the ball too much. Yeah, if you're going to keep Lovett, like we were just talking about, you're going to have to say, hey, he's a project. I got to develop him. But you think about it, the Lions kind of did that with Manu. I guess you could say at this point, Martin, maybe Derek Barnes fits into that. Iffy Melifano was here. So there is a history there. Dre Day, Meeks will probably be a practice squad guy. Other teams will sign, unfortunately, which is too bad. Meeks looks like a good fit. Yeah, how do you keep them all? That's probably the biggest bad news the Lions are facing at this point. Again, let's see if later today we get an update on Hassanin. Grade 8 Lovett is Khalif's replacement for special teams, not meant to be a right-away receiver, which is how he will make the team. Could be, and I like the way you're thinking there. I think everybody loves Khalif Raymond, but Khalif Raymond is getting a little bit older. The paycheck's getting a little bit bigger. You got to slash sometimes with the roster. It could be a thing. Miles Barker, greetings, salutations. Did anyone else see the game makes Sheila's fun with flags jokes yesterday? I did not. Sheldon's fun with flags. How about that? Just greetings, salutations. What's the bad news? You can't keep everybody. We'll just summarize that way. Drake injuries. Well, we really only had one. Ahmed Hassanin's injury. And again, I don't think that's going to be a long-term thing. I think it's going to be a short-term thing. But I would, as a coach, wanting to see him out there preseason game number 4 for us, just for more growth and development. Is it going to be the end of time because he missed was one opportunity for that? No. But anytime you take snaps and reps development away from a young player, you slow down their progression. Until then, Ahmed Hassanin, I'll go with that. Silver Server, Tori Apple, I hope so. But yesterday they targeted 11 only 3 times and had 2 catches for 14 yards. I wonder if he played having fully recovered from abdominal injury. Could be that he wasn't fully recovered. The other part is, I can only throw this out there. You don't target players you read who's open as a quarterback. So, sometimes, yes, you'll set up a play to specifically get somebody open. But if Allen's just doing his job, who's open on this route? Who's the number 1, 2, 3 going through the progressions? And what is the defense taking away? If the defense is taking somebody away, don't force the ball. Go with the open guy. Johnny L, Sonic Knuckles, I'll go with that. Tug Speedman, greetings, guys. I can see Meeksy beating out Lovett for a roster spot. Teslaa and Meeks played great yesterday. Yeah, I think everybody watching would say both those guys show up. That speed, and I was talking to Sarge. The Sarge was gone yesterday. Him and the wife were, doing something. And I kind of gave him a fill-in on that touchdown right before halftime with Teslaa, at least what I saw. And I said, this can be a problem. How many NFL DBs are typically 5'8" to 5'11"? You got a guy with a 40-inch vertical who's roughly 6'4". That's going to be a difficult thing for most people to stop without causing a penalty. Till then, Meeks over Lovett, size over speed. Fair enough. Henry Moore, I've been thinking the flag happy refs might be part of creating adversity the team has to handle in a game environment. Yeah, could be. There were a lot of flags for both teams yesterday. No question about it. France, Doug Speedman, and they each give us some size. What about that new running back? I like him. Yeah, I think there's not much to dislike other than the fact you can't keep everybody. Who's in, who's out? Man, it's going to be a rough week for a lot of these players that feel like they're on the bubble. Talking about people that don't sleep. Yeah, there'll be people that don't sleep very much this week. Jennifer, good morning, all. Back at you. Henry Moore. Okay, I'll shut up now. Keep talking, my friend. You do a good job. Doug Saylor played pretty dang well. I would say so. Henry Moore, definitely a flag-happy ref team, but they wanted to keep the game under control. Yeah, they probably, to your point, Jennifer, they probably know there were fights that happened to the joint practices. Some, I guess you'd say there was some energy between the teams, and because of it, you want to keep people safe. You want to avoid injury. You don't want anything happening on TV as far as fights breaking out. So you're probably right. They probably controlled it early and often. Stephanie, whoever it is. Good morning, boys. Exclamation point. Henry, you are fine. Talk away. Exclamation point. This is why I don't want to ever coach. We are very deep, and now we have to cut most of the team in 8 days. Yeah, half the team basically is going to be out of here in about a week. Bo, Henry, it seems to me in the first half, at least, the zebra factor was not in our favor. No, it wasn't indeed. Bo, I think you're onto something there. Jennifer, I think so too. Until then, Tori Teslaa was always making it. It was between Meeks and Lovett. Meeks has played his way on and Lovett off. Yeah, Lovett missing that whatever it was week and a half or so with the abdominal injury probably did not help his development. Where the other side of that, somebody went down, somebody else took advantage of the extra reps. Tuxpan, Grant Stewart is definitely making the team. You can't shut his motor off. No, he flies around, man. Him, Rodrigo, when Rodrigo's back, you think about those backup linebackers, man, you got some depth there. All right, Silver, great day. As long as they keep Lovett. Now Meeks has looked strong, but Lovett got injured 10 days ago, so he was the talk of camp. He was, before that injury, he was the talk of camp. Susan Martin got some pressure at times. I think he has a chance to make it. I do too. How good of a chance? I don't know. Madly Hassani, good morning, Coach Dan and Duke Crew. Unfortunate injury. Yeah, unfortunately injuries, but I don't, you may know more than I do, but I think he's going to be fine in time. I don't think it's going to be a big one, but been wrong before. But thoughts and prayers for your son. I think he'll be back lickety split. Xavier, good morning, Coach Dan and Duke Crew. Hope you guys have a blessed day. Exclamation point. Go Lions. Woo! Back at you. Jennifer. Bo also agreed. Penalties were one side for sure. Think they were afraid they would hurt the Dolphins. Yeah, could be just that. Central Scrutinizer, Greetings Sanitations, Coach of Duke Crew. Let's go, Lions. I like the way you're thinking. Jess, Hassani Manley, how bad is the injury? We'll find out. Johnny L, I think we are starting to see who's going and who's staying. We'll go with that. I agree with you, though, Johnny. Just sending prayers for your son, Hassan Medley. Yeah, I think everybody in the Duke crew is. Hopefully he's back, man. Hopefully he's back in the field tomorrow. Dre Day, Meek's looking good, but I haven't heard of a team keeping 6 wide receivers, let alone 7. That room is too deep for Meek. I think Silver Server could be. Yeah, let the Lions coaches figure that out. Maybe that's why Brad Holmes opens up the phone book and says, "Hey, who can we trade this for to another team and get something versus nothing?" So Miles Adams is already a player and can play defensive tackle and even big edge. Has Martin developed enough to beat him out? Question mark. Don't really know. I don't know, but you know what? 3 weeks ago, I think just about everybody watching this show would have said Martin's, donezo. He's out of here. But you know what? Give this young man some credit. He's made that conversation now interesting. He's at least entered the conversation. Bo and the Meeks shown here at the practice squad might be true. Might be very accurate. Good call on that, Bo. Big Eddie, Meeks and Tesla are dogs. Hassan Madley sending some love to your family. 100%. Let's all pray that he's going to be okay. Till the hunt, Lynn and KCJ are making it over Broderick Martin right now. They both have outplayed him in camp and in the games. Fair enough. Art, in last night's game post-game presser, MCDC said they were still want to work with Hooker. So if it's good enough for him, it's good enough for me. I hope the kid can get it together. Yeah, I think he's got it all there. I think it's just he's kind of mentally got a block right now. You get that removed, he's going to probably jump up in his abilities noticeably and quickly. Johnny L. Thunder and Lightning, baby. Oh, yeah, I'll go with that. The professor is in. Kurt Steele, what up, though, do crew? Exclamation point. Boss Up Ball is live at 8 following Lions Talk live. Hey, trying to go with my Mean Gene Oakland and pro wrestling voice there. Johnny L. Baki looked really good. I do like him. I do. I've said that since we drafted him. I like the pickup. We'll see how that goes this year. Jason, at least our backup quarterback has been decided now for number 3. We'll see. Could they keep Hooker? Could they look to, add somebody else? I don't know, but I wish nothing but well for the young man. I like him that much. Server, Dre Day, of course, and Patrick Cleef are both would have been cut to be cut. Don't believe will happen. They'll cut one veteran at the most. Yeah, I don't think they're getting rid of both of them for sure. Jennifer, feel bad for Hooker. The last throw and the pick, crushing for confidence. Yep, he's struggled to secure the ball, to take care of the ball. Central Scrutinizer, today's game should be a banger. It takes more grit. I'll go with that. Xavier, Hooker played really bad, exclamation point. Defense should have played better in fourth quarter. And you got backups out there. Sometimes they don't always play great, but you're seeing why they're backups. Brent George made some good plays yesterday. First time I've seen him. Yeah, he hasn't been here very long. Member, good morning all. Back at you. Johnny L. Hooker looked like he didn't want to even play. I think he's mentally in his own way. Gary, morning all to you, do people. Back at you. Same old soup. Good morning, coach and new crew. And to you, how you doing today, my friend? Until the hunt, Ian Kennedy looked great in the first half. Yeah, he's, talk about people competing. I know you're a fan of him. I like a lot of his upside. I think he needs more development at this level. But, man, that secondary is so deep. And I don't mean just corners. I don't mean just safeties, because I get this year's team is the guy. Most of the guys can play both spots. And can he crack that lineup to get a 53? I don't know, man. I do not know. Mary Smith, good morning, Dan, the Duke crew, and Lions fans. Always good to see you, Mary. Something about Mary in the chat. Amy Spray, what do you got? Greetings, salutations, Dan, and still ultra fabulous Duke crew. Exclamation points. Well, love the TDs. Wish we had a better outcome. We will dust ourselves off and regroup. I like the way you're thinking. Go Lions. Yes, indeed. Chrome. Coach. Chrome. How about that? Good to see you. Kurt Steele, I'm here, my guy. There you go. Silver. Attila, the Hunt, yes, they did, but I don't see Leonard Cooper Jr. being in direct competition with Brock Martin, Adam Smith, O'Connor more involved in the race. Roy Lopez is safe. Yeah, I mean, look at all the names you just threw out there. Who makes it? Who's in? Who's out? It's going to be a long week for a lot of those guys. Trim Reaper, what's going on, Coach Dan and the Mighty Duke crew? Question mark. Woo! Exclamation point. Down with that. Robert, second half team gets cut. Yep, might be a very accurate for a lot of guys. Jennifer, Whiteside, it was doing good too. Maybe draft capital. I know I mentioned him a little bit earlier, but I think he's got a sneaky chance to make this team. And I wouldn't have guessed that when he first came in. I would have said, camp body. But both him, and I want to give credit where credit's due, both him and Miller Jr., I think they're making that battle a real battle for that final cornerback spot. Coach Tony K, hey, Coach and Duke Crew, exclamation point, back at you. Hopefully mom is doing okay, family's doing well. Haven't seen it in a couple days. Thoughts and prayers as always. Doug Speven had to say next preseason game will even ever see Hooker in an NFL uniform. Let him play a few years in the USFL. To your point, Tugs, I wouldn't be surprised if Allen doesn't play at all next game and they just give it all to Hooker, along with a bunch of other guys that, you're down to that final, 5, 6, 8, whatever metric it is, guys trying to compete for a roster spot. Hooker might be out there, having the entire game to throw the ball around. Michael, good morning, Coach Dan and Duke Crew. Go Lions. Back at you. Doug, really like the kid Hooker. Yeah, I do too. It's just he's got to take that next step. Phil, good morning, Duke Crew. And with you, good to see you, Phil. Looks, fishing again, 100%, my friend. Avery T, good morning, Dan. Exclamation point. I'm convinced that the coaching staff is not concerned about teaching everyone. Why would you have had the ball off with a 3rd down and 17? The quarterback should be in the shotgun and ready. When that happened early in the 3rd quarter with Hooker, to me, that was kind of a smite that, they don't have a lot of faith in him in that situation. So I can't answer that, Avery, but yeah, we both saw it the same way. Until then, I give Meeks and Stewart the ball up. A ball up indeed. Silver Star Hassan Mali, good day, sir. Hope your Ahmed gets well soon. 100% there. Dre Day, Hooker will be a Lion for at least another year. So this season and more of off season, maybe he is out. Maybe we'll see. We will see. Detroit D, good morning, Duke Crew. Back at you. How you doing today? Victor, looks like you got a tan from it as well. Man, you ain't wrong, man. We had Jen's family over from like 9 a.m. till 3 out at the pool in the sun all day. Then we had to clean everything up. Then we had to get everything ready for the spicy wing challenge or whatever. Man, and yeah, I'm the spice got to be a little bit. I enjoy spicy food. I think you guys know that. But making it all that way, once we got to like wing 7 or 8, you can see where a lot of people said, hey, no mas. And see, until then, Carol mentioned that Corey said it was Ahmed's peck. Could be. Yeah. Kurt Steele, the whole ball out crew will be in the house at 8. We'll see you then very shortly. Leonard Green, Sanitation's coach and Duke Crew, seeing Ahmed Hassan walk off into the building was tough. Yeah, it was, man, but hopefully he's back quickly. Trim River, Latino Heat, I'll bring that. Phil, I'll wait till they get out of each other, coach. You'll be shooting flame out of your rear end, 100% there. Maybe very accurate this morning. Jennifer Attila, Trim River, what up, though, Professor Steele? Let's see what he's up to. Kurt Steele, Trim River, what up, though? Jennifer Attila in the hunt. Unfortunately, Stewart got nabbed for one of the ticky-tack penalties. Yes, he did. Kim, is it not the best interest of either Hooker or the Lions to keep moving forward? It's not a good fit. Hooker will not be successful in Detroit. Time to move on for both. I'll go with that. And I'm trying to keep my mouth on camera. It has become pointed out to me, we have at least one Duke Crew member who needs to read my lips in order to watch the show, just cannot hear. So I'm trying to be respectful of that and trying to keep my face on camera more so he can read my lips. He sent a few messages, and I'm sure if there's one, there's probably others. I mistakenly thought all the shows had the closed caption. Maybe that's not the case. Until then, by the training camp reps, maybe. Trim River almost slept through my alarm. Hey, well, glad you got through it, my friend. Power through, Jennifer. Exactly, Attila. It was one-sided BS, so I'll go with that. Silver Sir, Hooker looked mentally spent, but it wouldn't surprise me if he balled out in the last game, making the cut really difficult, typical Lions fashion. Yeah, go out there, give him the entire game, keep Allen safe on the sideline, and just, hey, you got nothing to lose, man. Let it rip. Let him take kill shots down the field, do whatever he wants to do. Here's your opportunity. Till then, it was great that we were worried about the 6th-string wide receiver and 4th-string defensive lineman. To think about 4 years ago, think about now, how much it's all changed. Mr. Detroit City, let's go Lions! Exclamation point, and Coach Dan, thank you for that. Good to see you, my friend. Always good. And hey, I like the new thumbnail. Mr. Detroit City, shout out from Florida. Hopefully you're having a good time down in Florida. Mary Smith, I see a lot of people is on the Hooker, but I thought he did a lot better and had a touchdown. But of course, we had another penalty. Yeah, that wiped it off the board when he scrambled. Yeah, 100% there. I hope he gets the full the 4th game to just be out there by himself. Let's see what he can do. Cynthia, good morning, all. Prayers for Hassani. I'll go with that. Chris Steele, the funniest thing yesterday was the Miami fans thinking it was preseason game that held some weight as a joint practice. Yeah, it's not the same, and you're spot on with that, Professor. Big Dance, good morning, Coach Dan of the ever-loving Duke Crew. I don't know about how most of you feel, but HH has got to go. Oh yeah, we'll see what happens. Trim Reaver is laughing. Jennifer, Mary Smith, absolutely, but that's the last row didn't help his confidence. It was tough to watch. It was. Let's see. Kurt Steele, Mary Smith, good morning. Kim, Mary Smith agreed that Hooker had an uphill battle due to penalties. The quarterback needs to be mentally tough, and he was just spent. Yeah, he's had some stuff. Creative idea. Haven't seen it in a hot second. Frank the Tank was a warrior with heart of a lion. Yes, he was indeed. Good call there. Dre Day. He ran the ball instead of going through progressions and throwing the ball. We know he can run, but he can't prove he can read defensive throw. All right. Jennifer, Kurt Steele, you are so right. I concur with that. Mary Smith, Jennifer, I agree. B. All right. Lionel, greetings, Sanitations Coach Dan, the world famous new crew. Exclamation point. That last drive of the first half was outstanding. Exclamation point. Teslaa made a great catch for the TD. Hooker is getting voted off the island. Maybe so. Hassani Manley, thank you everyone in prayers for my son, Ahmed Hassani. Yes, thoughts and prayers 100%. Marcus, stop it. All right, we'll stop it. What do we stop him? Kim, Hooker won't be running for long without sliding. He's going to get hurt big time. Yeah, they need to work out with him, just to, like you're saying, keep him healthy. Mary Smith, good morning, Mr. Steele. Xavier, yes, Teslaa would be a number one. Yeah, I would think he would be a first rounder at this point. But that's part of the fun of the NFL draft, or really any draft, finding diamonds in the rough. And we all had our thoughts when we went up and got him. I know there were some people, breaking their TV screens and everything when we traded everything to go get him. Brad Holmes is an idiot. Well, you know what? Once again, Brad Holmes has shown maybe he's not an idiot. Maybe he knows what he's doing. Bo, you're welcome, Medley. Until the hunt. Woo! Pigs soon. All right, I'll go with that. Silver, Mary Smith, Hooker didn't do what a young quarterback should do. Grab a spot in an NFL team. Also hasn't caught a break. Everything went against him, including that incredible pick on the last play. Yeah. He's had some bad luck for sure. Big Dash, hope Hassani isn't gone long. I still don't see who the second stringers are. If they're supposed to come in and play, the second offense is not good. Woo! Yeah, we'll see what shakes out. Who's the twos, who's the threes, who's the ones. Jennifer, good morning, Mr. Hassani Madley. All kinds of prayers for your son. 1,000% there, 1,000%. Michael, Hooker with no tricks, all right? Kurt Steele, I saw Dolphins account asking Doc Macaron for an apology for his comments about the joint practices after they won yesterday. Man, yeah, if they're doing that, man, they're just somebody who has no clue about what a preseason game is. Who dat? I trust Dave Montgomery at quarterback number 3 more than Hendon Hooker at this point, or maybe Isaac Teslaa. Let's see, until then, Muhammad Lynn, KCJ, Pascal, maybe Zadarius Smith. Maybe Zadarius. We'll see if he makes an entrance onto the roster. Kurt Steele, MC, who dat? I know, right? Run the Wildcat. The Lions, just so you guys know, in joint practice this week, did run the Wildcat. I know that 100% confirmed, although, I get they did in joint practices, not on camera. Bo Booth, let's see. Bo, Kurt, that was pure delusion. I'll go with that. Independent Aquaman, you're up crazy early for a Sunday. Exclamation point. Go Lions. Goff, the NFL's elite quarterback. He might just be. Trim Reaver, Kurt, Big M, a quarterback that holds onto the ball too long is a quarterback not comfortable in the offense that is schemed. Hooker needs to be let go. Maybe change this scenery, different offense. Might be good for him. Yeah, could be indeed. Kurt Steele, Bo Booth, it sure was. Lionel, they need to hire From as an assistant coach. That way he can just throw on a uniform and play if needed. Ooh, that's the box thinking. I like it. Server, until the Hun, I really want to see what happens with Pascal. Not sure about anything, considering I believe he is due to be paid $7 million. Yeah, I don't know his contract off the tip of my noggin. JK, I didn't see Iffy. Was he watching? They might not have put their ones out there, or Iffy Melifano out there. Dre Day, Hooker's under contract for 2 more years. I doubt they would drop him and pay the dead cap. No team will trade for Hooker with that bad tape. Okay. Kurt Steele, 4 headlines now. Yes, indeed. We had an update for today's show. Mary Smith, Silver Server, I agree, but I think he did better. I think the pressure is worried about trying to do or remember things and just too much. Yeah, he's got to calm down a little bit. It sounds like we're on the same page with that, Mary. I think if he gets out of his own head, he's going to be okay. Kurt Steele, Goff, Allen, Hooker, practice squad, could be. Xavier, Goff, Allen, I'm down with that. Tug Speed, Goff and Allen, there is no doubt about it. All right. Dre Day, Goff, Allen, Hooker. I think we're all on the same page. Mark, I'm taking Goff number 1, Allen number 2, put Hooker on the practice squad. Maybe bring From back. Maybe they will. Allen over Hooker. Angie, Goff, Allen, Teslaa, Hooker. Fair. There you go. Hey, Teslaa, has played championship football as a quarterback. But I doubt anyone poaches Hooker off the practice squad. Yeah, I think he would probably be safe there at this time. Jennifer, Goff first, Allen, question mark. Second quarterback might not be on the team this year. Maybe the second quarterback isn't on the team. Dre Day Hooker at running back, maybe. Lions Talk Live fan, give Teslaa a shot. We'll see. Tell the Hun for running backs. All right. Keep Sailors. I like Sailors. Who do you get rid of, though, Mark? That's a tough one. Bo, Hooker at tight end and put Hooker everywhere. How about that? JK, Goff, Allen, Hooker traded. Xavier, 5 running backs. I'm down with that. Jennifer, 5 running backs. Sailors was crazy good in the UFL, and he's looked pretty good in preseason so far. Both Sailors is a keeper. Yeah, if you put him on the practice squad, he's going to get grabbed, I think, pretty quick. Tripsy, Tips, Gipsy, Gibbs, Monty, Reynolds, Vaki. I'll take all the above. Dre Day, keep 4 running backs if possible. See what we can do. Till then, drop Sailors unless he is one of the 4 projected on practice squad. Ooh, that's a good thought right there, Attila. Chris Steele, Sailors is a beast. He is. Keep 5, says Robert. Independent Aquaman, Goff number 1. 2, Allen currently as the number 2. Maybe a mid-season move to number 3 after picking up a different quarterback. 3, put Hooker on waivers, and if he's not picked up, bring him back on the practice squad. Yeah, could be that. Great. Craig and Sailor stay. Phil, compared to what I'm seeing from other teams, the Lions are very, very weak at backup quarterback. Yeah, could be accurate. Robert, 7 wide receivers. That's a lot of wide receivers. Trim Reaper, I was watching player interviews. Vaki's shoulders have shoulders. Yes, they do. He's works out maybe a little bit. Chris Steele, Meeks is killing it. Yes, he is. Figuratively, not literally. Xavier, Teslaa and Meeks, exclamation point. Iceman, plot twist, exclamation point. Hendon Hooker purposely played like trash so he can start for another team. He knows he won't play anytime soon. He's already up in age. Maybe accurate. Could be. You never know, right? Jennifer, love it for comp picks. Patrick for tight end and Teslaa and Meeks. Okay. Till then, Meeks, because he is the Darius Smith's nephew, couldn't hurt, right? Couldn't hurt at all. Big M, Hooker gets poached as soon as team has an injury. There is still a lot of talent for a team to work with. Yeah, could be. All comes down to the eyes of the beholder. Silver Server, Dre Day, not sure will cost much cutting. Hendon Hooker, sure he will not keep him if they don't think he can play in the 3rd season and going 28 years old. But we'll see about 10 days. Yeah, we'll know. All right, guys, we got about 3 minutes left, and then I got to get you over to Boston Ballot. So let me try to go through, get people who haven't been on as much. Cynthia, Trim Reaper, laughing out loud. He is built. Bo, not a good plan. Iceman, I'll take that. Tim Patrick, the 3rd wide receiver, Teslaa to Starbucks. Okay, all right, fair enough. Independent Aquaman, new O coordinator Martin is a wide receiver guru, so maybe 6 wide receivers. Mark, keep Patrick tight end number 3, wide receiver number 4, Teslaa wide receiver number 3. All right, let's see. Chris Steele, Tim Patrick's spot is in jeopardy. He's sliding down the depth chart. I would agree. Phil, the picture tells me coach's bottom end is going to bum. Well, may be accurate. Xavier, 8 offensive linemen. Take that. Michael, isn't 96 total? A team can keep 53 main roster. The rest on the practice squad can't keep all of them on the practice squad. Keep, I think it's 16. Maybe it's 17. I don't remember offhand. Bo, 53 plus 16 on practice squad. There we go. Trim Reaper, Patrick may be the odd man out traded. Could be. Michael, okay. Bo, there you go. Let's see. Mary Stewart, Grant Stewart is a beast. Phil, penalties hurt some chances yesterday. TK85, for example. I'll go with that. Iceman, I don't get it. Hooker had a very high quarterback IQ in college. He had 5 interceptions his entire college career. He's tricking us to play somewhere else. Maybe. One never knows. Chris Steele, Martin is out in your opinion. Hey, could be right. Jennifer, all the teams are going to be poaching our practice squad. Yeah, I think 100%. That's why I think some teams will try to trade for some of our guys we're cutting. Because if you're too far down the list for the practice squad guys or cuts, you're not going to get them. Some other team is. Silver, Mary Smith Stewart got a royalty last name in the main of the line. He does have that. Silver Aquaman talking Cleve, maybe. Bo, DB36 had a little redemption. It was enough. We'll have to see, man. Silver Martin, 0 trade value. It could be. Dre Day. Phil, definitely in my opinion, we have a pure pass system not meant for a mobile quarterback, looks like. All right. Trim Reaper, if I give you $1, you can keep most of the change because I really want is a backup quarterback. All right, we'll do that. JK, Pimple Scoresdale, yeah, he's unable to play this year. He's injured. All right, Big M, that is awesome news. Happy to hear that. Me too. Well, let's see. Phil, Dre Day, Jennifer, Muhammad is crazy good too. Yeah, I'll go with that. I like him. I like him a lot. Let's see. The Rebel Greetings Sanitations, Coach Dan and Duke Crew. Woo! And back at you, Kim. Great Lakes are the best chips. Well, yeah, I ate a lot of hot, spicy chips last night. Cal Allen looked really good. He did. Church, Greetings Sanitations, Coach and Duke Crew. I'm ready for football. Let's show the world how good we are. Woo! I think we will be showing the world. Let's see. Tillahan Decker looked good in practice this week. Let's keep him good. DM5, do you think Hooker is cut? I think he's, maybe on the practice squad at best at this point. We'll see. Big M, if the injury to our rookie defensive end doesn't open your eyes, please sign some depth. Brad, Z, Judon, someone. We'll see what they do. DM5, how long is Hassanin out? Nothing official as of yet. Trim Reaper, very bummed by Hooker. Stinks. Hope he makes it somewhere. I think he will. I think he will. Phil, yes, first season. The system may take more than a month to learn completely. Kyle will improve. I'll go with that. Roger, Brad, and Dan. I'll concur. Let's see. Who else here? Independent. Surfer, I said back in the draft round that Hooker was picked to temporarily shut up the golf-phobics. The hatred towards golf was so intense. Exclamation point. Holmes, 80% succeeded. I'll go with that. Lauren Lyons, good morning. Coach Dan, Duke Crew. We will be all right. I feel bad for Hooker, but he looked like a doe in the headlights. Yeah, he had that deer in the headlights, 100%. Drew Reaver, same here, Kurt. I'll concur. Joseph, 90% of Raymond's contract is guaranteed. He's not going anywhere. Yeah, could be. Aquaman, Meeks and Tesla, and to whoever asked, yes, Raymond, thanks. All right. Dylan, I agree, Professor. Have the size and hands over speed. I concur. Laporta is injured too. Yeah, not too bad, though. Drew Reaver, sorry, Kurt. Big M, that wide receiver size in the red zone will be lethal. It would be lethal. Jennifer, Kurt Steele, love it. Will be a comp pick trade. Maybe accurate, maybe not. Kurt Steele, Tilda Hun, I know, right? Kim, preseason for refs too. They need to adjust the new rules, but best experience it at a real game. Get bad calls of the system in preseason. I'll go with that. Jacob, I'm worried about the backup quarterback position. I think we need to go out and try to get someone like Jameson Winston or Wentz, someone who has started in this league. For a backup quarterback, yeah, I go with that. The Rebel Sailor is a stud. I concur. You put him on the practice squad, he's going to be gone real quick. Bo, prep one of the factors and consider a backup quarterback. I concur. All balls no D. Good morning, Dooku. Good to see you. Been a hot second since we've seen you, Anthony. How you doing today? DM5 TV, all balls. Let's see. Nobody believes that about Allen either. We'll see. Thomas, what happened to Hooker yesterday is why I want to play the backup the entire game to get in and stay in a groove. We'll see if they do that week, the final preseason game. Pretty good bridge, all balls. I'll take that. The Rebel, I think Hassanin injury speeds up Z plan if there is any. We will see. Gun guy, what happened to the Hooker sloppies? Yes, he can run, so he's a better weapon. Right. We'll find out what they do from here. Kurt Steele, Mary Smith says Kurt Steele. There you go. Michael, I think it comes down to how much it will cost to keep Tim Patrick versus one of the rookies. We will see what they end up doing there. Verbal Kent, Hooker just doesn't have it. He already up there in age. Got to move on. We'll see if they do move on. Trim Reaper, drop that leg button. Oh, yeah. Thank you for that. All balls. I could see they keep him in from passing the ball. Yeah, could be indeed. Coach Sonic K, we're hanging in, and Coach, it's tough to go. Yeah, she hasn't been feeling too well, and now I haven't been, but we will fight and we will win. Exclamation point. I'm done with that. I've been watching, though. Love you too. Hopefully, you guys are doing okay. Need anything, let the Duke Crew know we got your back. Gun guy, Hooker was supposed to be a starter by now, right? Yeah, some people thought that, and we were hoping, for that he would grow and develop. I don't know if we were hoping he'd supplant golf, but I get your point. Chad Wright, good morning, Coach Dan and the awesome Duke Crew. Woo! Exclamation point. Hooker looked like a dog out there. I don't know what or how I feel about him now. We'll see what they do. All balls. Oh, yeah, Gunn he was supposed to be the future of the Lions. I'll go with that. The Rebel. How about we sit count Allen for last game? I think that's probably going to happen. Will Hooker play the full game to showcase him for trade bait? Maybe. You never know, man. Let's see, all balls, but he definitely is a beast. Grant Stewart is definitely a beast. Okay. Bo, best hair team. I'll go with that. Well, let's go with that all hair team. Prayers for 61. Yes, I agree with that. We need him. I concur. Kerry, agreed. Thomas, independent. Hooker doesn't even have the running talent, let alone the pass talent, unless he unlearns bad habits. Yeah, we'll see if they can coach him up a little bit. All right, a couple more here, and then we're out of here. D. Ray, you think the Lions will bring in another quarterback or just keep Hendon Hooker for a practice squad or cut? I think it's going to come down to who gets cut, who's available. I mean, you have to believe that whoever you get is better than him. Otherwise, you wouldn't be bringing him in. At least that's my thought. All right, Fisher, all balls no D. I know, right? Remember when our Lions went 4-0 in the preseason and 0-16 in the regular season? Yeah, Dolphins, go ahead and celebrate. Some people will. When you got nothing else to look forward, you're going to take whatever you can look forward to. All balls, Detroit ain't going to take up 3 positions at quarterback on a roster. No way. We'll see what they do for sure. Silver Surfer, Kerry Smith, 3 quarterbacks, question mark. Now that would surprise me. It would, right now, that would surprise me too. Fisher, exactly, exclamation point. Kerry, Hooker is contract or trade. We'll see. We'll see. Trim Reaper, for all those here at Lions Talk Live, stay classy, planet Earth. I like the way you're thinking. Bubba, happy trails, Duke Crew. See you later. We'll see you then. Thomas Vaki is a stud. 2 great special team players. 5 carries for 30. I'll take that. Mary Smith, y'all have a blessed Sunday. See you in the morning. We'll see you next time. Real soon, Mary. Thomas, in my belief, Ronnie Bell is better than Lovett. All right? He has looked pretty good this preseason. All right, Thomas, smash the like. Thank you for that. Independent Aquaman, because Hooker was used to running solve his passing problems in college. Maybe accurate. Ted, one pride. Let's go, Lions. I like the way you're thinking. Trim Reaper, have a great day, Coach the New Crew. Woo! All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and get you out of here. We're 5 minutes late, tardy for the Boss Up Ball Up podcast. If you would be so kind before checking on out, hit the thumbs up button, hit the like button, hit all the buttons. Be kind to each other. Do something nice for someone you don't know. Maybe don't eat the level 10 spicy wings. And we'll see you guys all in the next Lions Talk Live. Take care, everybody.
Excuse me, sir, would you... Donations to the Reverend Moon? Jews for Jesus? Read about Jehovah's Witness? How about Buddhism? Help Jerry's kids? Oh, yeah. Scientology? Or nuclear power?